What was this whole Dolly Parton? Like, did you mispronounce her name or did you not know who she was?
Okay, so the first time I really got to understand who Dolly Parton was, I think it was Tennessee, and they were playing either Oklahoma State or somebody. I don't know. But, the lady showed up, and her attire was, it was something. And the show that I have has so many like different people from different cultures, like it's very diverse. So when I talk about this individual, they tell me like she's a big deal, she's big. And then I'm like, okay, so Dolly Parton is big. She's a big deal. And one of the little key jokes at the show is that I'm pretty bad at butchering people's names or like mispronunciations and stuff like that. So then it was the ongoing joke, like, who is Dolly Parton? Who is Cruz talking about when he talks about Dolly Parton? So what I did was I did some research and I found out, no, she's like a country living legend and she's really big. She's like on that Whitney Houston status and, iconic, better said, right? So I listened to a couple of songs, something about some chick named Jolene or something like that. And then a 9 to 5 and, me being a brother from the city. Definitely different for me, but I can appreciate art. So I thought that was really dope. And I saw a couple of interviews with her and I liked her whole vibe. I was like, oh, that's pretty tough. She seems like a very sweet person. So
she got like that grandma vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but you go over there, I want some cookies or something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like she's sweet like that, but she'll tell you to go kick rocks if you do something you shouldn't do that.
Oh, for sure. Like, and like when you were talking about the game, I wonder if you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys game when she had the Thanksgiving halftime show where she's all decked out in the Dallas Cowboys gear.
I think I might have signed her there, but no, this one was Tennessee because Peyton Manning was there as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was a college football game. It was a big one. I think it was Oklahoma State. I don't remember who they were playing, but she was there.
Well, like there's actually a running joke kind of in the comments. Like, I mean, it's just between me and Holly, really. And like, I always like when she had her husband on, I was like, you and him could literally go as Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers for Halloween. I don't know if you've listened to this song yet, but Islands in the Stream. Have you heard that song?
No, I haven't heard that one.
When you get off of this, I want you to check it out and think of Holly and her husband, like two peas in a pot. I swear.
Yeah. Okay,
it was intriguing because you brought up Dolly Parton. I was like, hey, I said that because Holly was in the chat at the time when I brought it up, and I was like, you and your husband could go as like Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton.
You see, now we got to challenge her. She got to do it next year for a costume party or something. We got to see that happen.
Do some karaoke.
Exactly.
It's one of the most karaoke songs that I've ever heard, at least.
Oh,
but I've also grown up in Kansas my entire life, so.
Gotcha.
So.
Nice,
no, man,
nice.
like, usually at this point, this is where I kind of want you, I mean, you know yourself better than anybody out there. So this is where, like, I think anybody who's listening is going to get more of a cut version of who you are. So kind of, like, give listeners kind of a vibe of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Jay Cruz. I have a YouTube channel called Healthy Bearded. Originally, I started that channel to talk about, men's grooming, particularly beard care. I was very active in the whole like weight loss journey, and I was trying to merge both, right? Kind of like health and grooming, and I started to notice like the impact that has on your mental health, right? Like taking care of yourself and your esteem. So I kind of did that. And I'm just a content creator. I love creating content, and I have a weekly show that does very well with just so many different people, man. I'm really a people person. I worked in mental health for about 7 years, so I've like interacted with many different people from different walks of life, and that show has been really become a highlight of my week because I'm not every week talking about beards, sometimes then and there, but I try to incorporate a little like different stuff, right? If it's like culture, if it's music, lifestyle stuff, kind of, right? Like we're a part of, because I think I'm part of this community. But, there's also, I want to connect with people in a different way as well with that. So I'm a content creator, man, and I love to create. I love creating content and putting things together. I think, and getting a reaction from people. I think that's really cool.
And from where I sit usually, which is on the other side of a keyboard during either your live streams or anything that you're on, like,
me
watching you grow was like, I mean, like there for a while, like, and I don't even know where it all started at. Like, I think it was like, what didn't you do a challenge, or was that even you that did the challenge for
Yeah.
video content?
So no, I wasn't part of that. So what happened with me was because like a couple years ago, I really started taking my health a lot more serious to lose this weight, and I came into this community on YouTube and Instagram, social media, and I was there and I saw a lot of people there, and I wanted to see what I could bring different. How can I contribute? I'm usually not a type of person that likes to just sit while a lot of things are moving around. I want to be a part of something in a way, right? So I started off on YouTube doing reactions to products that I was buying, and I was having fun with them. And I don't when it comes to reactions, I don't have a good poker face. So if I love something, you'll know. If I don't love something, you'll know too. I'll do it respectfully, especially. So I started off there, and then I started to get to know more of the community that I'm a part of, and meeting different people and talking to different people. And then I created like this push-up challenge. Now, obviously, brother, I ain't doing no regular push-ups. You feel me? I got to do modified ones. But it was really cool to see different people from different age groups too, participate and kind of want to help support me in my journey, but also be part of it. And we would go live on Instagram. And this is like towards the end of the pandemic, but not fully out of it. So there was a lot more social media presence, right? There was a lot more people connected to social media. I remember being on YouTube and Instagram, and people would be live like throughout the whole day, because at that point people weren't certain parts of the country. They didn't really recommend that you leave your house. So now it's like, here's this community. How do I become a part of it? And how do I be myself and have fun and bring something different? And that's kind of how I got started with what I do.
And watching you grow, like you got to a milestone probably quicker than I've seen just in the beard community side of things.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the health side of things, but I think what a lot of that has to do with was your, like, just generally, just like this, like the people that you interacted with, your interactions with people, and your positive vibes that you brought to like Dan C. Like, people are attracted to that stuff, and that's really where you pretty much bloomed into this. Like, I mean, it's a pleasure watching you as much as I can get to watch you. So, but I mean, I come in at least every other week, I think is what I'm down to, but I try. But it's been a pleasure watching you grow, like, especially in such a, I guess, the best word probably to describe it would be just such a natural way. Like, you didn't push, like, you weren't pushing products. You're not, I mean, no product, like at the very beginning, I don't think you were sponsored by or getting anybody's.
No, it took a while for me to accept an affiliate. It took me a while. And the thing, I was offered by quite a few companies, but I wanted to take my time with that because, it's always interesting to come into a new space and see, new things come your way. If that's building relationships, and then it's managing that, like which ones are healthy, which ones are in it for the wrong reasons. And then when it comes to companies, right, working with certain companies and you align yourself with them. And I take representation serious. So like if I'm part of a company and I'm part of their affiliate team, I represent them as well. So it has to be vice versa, as far as like how we work together and making sure that I represent you correctly and vice versa. Right. So yeah.
And you're from Jersey, right?
Yeah. Born and raised, man.
Born and raised in Jersey. Well, okay, I will say this. You are the first person I've ever actually met, like, whether it be chat or in person, from Jersey. So,
snap, for real? Okay, okay.
But you also don't, like, I would never guess that you were from Jersey because most people have that thick Jersey accent now.
Yeah.
So I would never guess if I was talking to you on the phone. So if you were like a debt collector or something like that, then I'd be like, well, this guy's probably from Oklahoma or Texas or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Jersey's interesting because I think Jersey Shore gave us a bad rep. You feel me? And a lot of that people got to understand, like a lot of those brothers and sisters ain't even from Jersey. They from Staten Island or something like that. You know what I mean? Or one of the boroughs in New York. So the thing, I think Sammy was the only one that's from Jersey, or Snooki, I don't know. But if you come to New Jersey, it's very diverse. Very diverse. Like culturally, you have like sections of Jersey that's like really cool. Like if I go up to North Jersey, there's a big like Italian community and Portuguese community, especially like those Hoboken areas, and you get to experiencing the mom and pop Italian delis and all that. That's really cool. You know, you start getting to South Jersey, and then, you know, you start experiencing a little glimpse of what Pennsylvania could be like, you know, everything from their foods and Philly cheesesteaks at the border of New Jersey. And then you got Central Jersey, which I'm a part of, that's like a melting pot. And there's a big like Hispanic culture environment there. And so I like literally like when I'm around people, I think people catch on pretty quick that I'm a people person because I'm just so accustomed to it now. You know what I mean? So
right,
yeah, different people.
Is that kind of like how it tied into? I mean, now I didn't actually. I can be honest. I've never actually seen your first reaction videos because I can't actually put a time to where I knew who Jay Cruz was, but I heard about the CMU, and that's what you heard. You didn't hear Jay Cruz. Usually, you either heard the CMU, which is the community meetup, or Healthy Bearded. Yeah, I didn't know Jay Cruz. Like Jay Cruz that I know is this hype man type DJ. Yeah. He's that people person. So like, was that like, I mean, dealing with like your health journey and stuff like that. Like, was that like a barrier you had to cross, or have you always been that type of like DJ? Like, I think Ken's apparently sent you a DJ Khaled bobblehead or whatever.
Yeah, DJ Khaled, yeah. You know, it's funny. Someone at one point in my life, I was doing Lyft, and at that time, at one point, DJ Khaled had done a Lyft commercial. So I ended up doing a ride for somebody, and I get a review back, and it's a great review. But someone put in their comment section, for a quick second, I thought it was DJ Khaled driving me, and I was dying. I was like, "Oh snap!" But to go back to your question, you know, if people that grew up with me, they kind of always knew that I was that type of person. That I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I can say it's a gift or something, but I just had this personality always bringing people together. That's always been my thing. Like when trauma hits, I'm the person that brings people together. When it's family parties, I'm the guy that organizes. I just like it. I don't know. There's something about that building community. It's always been natural for me, even in high school, you know, just wanting to learn from people and grow with people. And you know what I'm saying? I've always been that type of guy. And I think that translated into what I do now as a content creator. And when people meet me in person, you know, I know that sometimes, you know, people may look at my personality and be like, yo, this brother's always hyped. And it's not that I'm always hyped. It's just
drinking coffee.
I'm definitely drinking coffee right now, but when I love what I do, you know what I'm saying? So when I get to meet people, like a couple months ago, I met some people from the beard community at the Connecticut Barber Expo, which is like the biggest barber expo in the country. And it was so cool to meet with them, interact with them. And the best compliment that I got from them was later after we met. They said, man, Jay Cruz is exactly who he is on screen. He's exactly like that in person. And that's always been like my biggest, like, dang, like, wow, that really did something for me, because I don't ever want to give off the impression that I'm not authentically me. You know what I'm saying? So and listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Some might be a little too loud for some people, and that's okay, you know. But I have a lot of fun doing what I do, so I definitely, you know, love my journey in that regard.
And not to like take any like shots at like Jersey, but like anything that I've ever taken from Jersey has usually been from like Blue Bloods or Sopranos or something like that. So when I watch that stuff, I don't like, you are not a character in any of those like situations. I'm just saying. So it's very enlightening to let you, like, I mean, there's different types of people across every part of the world. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's one of you, or at least I believe that there's at least one of you in every parts of this like area that anybody lives in. So all they have to do is find you. And what, like, I think that a lot of people wouldn't be attracted to is if they're not like a morning person, like if you're like an alarm clock or something like that. But like, going back to your mental health, I guess working. I mean, I too worked in like a mental health unit at a hospital here in Kansas. Like, is that something kind of like what you did?
No, so I worked for you worked like in a psych ward and stuff like that?
Not a psych ward. I worked in the one of 3 emergency psychiatric assessment centers in the country.
Yeah, screening people and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Hey man, listen, bless you, because I know that's not an easy that's not an easy job. And I remember
I was an underpaid I was an underpaid MMA fighter. It was pretty crazy.
Well, who isn't underpaid in mental health, right? But that's another story.
Yeah, that was wild. Wild job.
Yeah. So I worked for a nonprofit organization, and basically what they did is the section I worked at was like kind of like supportive housing, right? So the organization leased apartments amongst the regular community, and we had our own office within that community, and we would provide services for these clients. They would come to us. We'd be open like about 14 hours a day, and we would help them everything with scheduling appointments, providing some type of support groups at our office, and then helping them with assistant, sometimes because they were very high functioning, very high functioning. So that we would help them with certain things they needed help with. And I did that for about 7 years. I started off as a regular counselor and then ended up becoming a supervisor. So yeah, that was interacting and working with people that appreciated the work that we did, especially like the clients, right? And them, saying that, hey, I want to thank you because when I talk to you, it seems you show me respect. You treat me you treat me correctly. You don't treat me any less than. And those were some of the best moments in my life because I'm like, wow, some of these people don't have family anymore, or they're very limited family contact, right? The family doesn't know how to handle someone that may be struggling with this type of condition, and for being in those places where people are very at their most vulnerable. I mean, it teaches you a lot as a human being. You know what I mean? And I think I was talking to my friend the other day, and I said, bro, sometimes I think people haven't gone through anything. You know what I mean? Because they think if someone's happy that there's a second motive to it. But I think it's important to be grateful because I've seen people at their worst. You know what I mean? And what that looks like. And so, and I'm sure you have as well, right? In the field that you were in, and it makes you think, right? It makes you think, and it makes you be appreciative of the small things. So.
Well, it makes me feel blessed that I haven't gone through what they're either going through or have gone through in life, but also I can honestly say that I've never been. I don't want to say that I've never been depressed because I think everybody has that certain stage in their life where they're either down or not happy with where they are in life.
Yeah.
But I've never been so down that I've been stuck. I've been sad, I've been blue, but I've never been stuck. And that's where you're once you start getting into that area and you aren't getting help or you don't have people around you, people like you or people who I've been around, you're going to get stuck. And that's kind of where I think depression starts to go downwards, is when you're stuck in one spot and you don't feel like you have anywhere to go. And that's where a lot of people fall short because one, they don't have resources or they don't know about resources. And working in mental health, you have those good moments, but you also, I think you have way more bad moments, seeing what people are not just Mother's Day was one of the worst days to be working in that area. It was not just saddest, but it was also you actually see what people go through when they lose something in life. And when I lost my mom, it was very sudden and I didn't know how to react. And I don't think it's even actually hit me the whole way because I lost her during the pandemic, but mentally I've always been that type of person that's the foundation of something, kind of like you, I'm there. So I was there for my sister, my brother, my dad, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's very humbling to be able to see that it's way worse than what you have it right now. Way worse. So
yeah. Sorry for your loss, my brother. I didn't even know that.
Oh, you learn to deal with things, but it's still weird. There's things that they can't teach you in school, and that's one of them is how to lose a parent or anybody that's close to you. So, but having people in your life to interact with, such as this or my best friends, or just being connected with people, you're a people person. You learn to deal with things like that way better.
Yeah. I used to. Yeah, I used to, and maybe this is part of my upbringing too, right? I think a lot of people, they always talk about man up and stuff like that, and I think it has its place, right? I don't want my boys, if they're my boys on social media crying, you feel me, like that. If there's a place for it, right? And if it happens organically and it's the right, but I'm saying don't ever I try to tell people bro, if you dealing with something, you better either reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, to a pastor, to a therapist, whatever you feel you need to get yourself right, do that. because a lot of that, tough man thing, that goes out the window. I seen some of the toughest dudes cry right in front of me. You feel me? Like tougher than me, and I'm not a tough guy, but you know what I mean? Like I seen some men cry because they're struggling or they got family issues or they're addicts and stuff like that. So I tell people, yo, you can try to act like you hard, but if you need support, go talk to someone. Go take a day off from work, get yourself together, reach out to someone that you could talk to and get your mind right, because I've been there. I mean, I've been there where I just feel a little stuck, and like there was at one point I wasn't creating content for like 6 weeks. And I was like, man, I just kind of was in my own thoughts and I had to get myself together. But during that time, I'd reach out to friends and stuff like that until I got where I needed to. But that's why I tell anyone, like, bro, stop it. Like, it's okay to go talk to somebody. You feel me? So there's that.
And like you said, I've never been to that point where I feel like I had to. And that's what I'm grateful for. Like, I don't know what it's like to be depressed, but like,
for sure.
Me and Dan, when he was on here, all he said was it's a simple task of like just listening rather than try to speak what you feel like needs to be said. So that also has a lot to do with somebody's mental health too. Like if they don't have somebody that will just listen, then that's going to be another difficult phase.
One of the most wise things that I ever heard, and I try to implement that in my life, is before, when I used to listen to people's problems or listen to people, I used to listen to want to respond, right? I felt that my job was to fix it, right? But I didn't realize that most of us listen to respond, but don't listen to understand. And when I switched that framework, right, I was like, all right, I'm not here to be your salt. I'm not here to save you. I'm here to support you. Let's see how I can support you. And that means listening, showing empathy and stuff like that. You feel me? So I try to do that.
Yeah, and that takes a special person to be able to do. Like that's the rare type of person, is somebody who is trying to be there to listen rather than try to respond and react to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So but those are the people that you want around you, and that's where a lot of people fall short of having either friends or somebody to go to. And that's another thing about the CMU. Like all of those people are in that chat room. Yeah. All of those people are either at Dan's live, your live, and stuff like that. And that's where I find the beer community more, I guess, attractive, is that there's so many people willing to just sit there and chat with you. If you just want to talk, they're just going to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
More people want to talk to you than you would think. It's pretty bizarre. A lot of people are bored, and don't take that for granted.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's I look at it. I look at the show as a place like, okay, people are coming to the show, so I can't. First of all, I have to be grateful for your time because you don't have to be there. You know what I mean? And I also want to bring some type of value to you because I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you, like, I have people tell me, hey, we're watching you on the big screen with our family. You know what I mean? And that means like teens and kids and all that. And then like maybe they're their parents. So now we're talking about older folks, and it's so cool to hear those things. And people say, hey man, I can't wait till tonight. I had a rough day. And I always want you to be able to come to the show and leave with either peace of mind, laughter. And I think that's one of the reasons people keep coming back, because it's just like, I don't have to, like, quote unquote, like for me, right? Like I don't have a release every week, or I don't have to, sometimes I don't have a sponsor for the show and it's just me and we're just rocking out. And it's always a great time. That's why, like, I really have a lot of fun. Like I could do that. If I could live stream every single day, I would. You know what I mean? But obviously that takes a lot of production work and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely.
Well, you're killing it now. I mean, your production work is like on point. Like I can honestly say that I've never walked in or went into a live YouTube kind of going like, hey, this is kind of very professionally put together. But like when I look at yours, it's like somebody else is producing it and you're just the person that we're watching, kind of like watching Ellen or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's organized. It's like I said, you're a hype man, like a DJ, like you got that ambiance. Like what does that take out of you? Like obviously mentally too, but like you got to really sit down and get your ducks in a row. Like what does a day of planning look like for J. Cruz?
Oh, so this is where this is something that a lot of people don't realize, because obviously as creators, we don't verbalize this stuff. Especially like when I got into the game, right, to the content creation game, I was like, how can I be different, right? How can I bring something new to the table? So what did I do? I started implementing really like a show vibe, right? And I started to think as a producer. So when I came into it, what did I bring? I brought stuff that you weren't commonly seeing. Like I started bringing music into the show. I started bringing sound effects. I started bringing other social media reaction videos, and then I started doing a little bit of like doing live reactions now on YouTube. If it's either beard products, perfumes, I did a couple of things with hot sauces and stuff like that. And then later on, I started doing like special shows with people calling into the show. So different things. But when it comes to that, I've always been intentional when planning the show to look at it through the lens of a producer. Because my goal in the future is to have a team, to be able to produce a type of show. Maybe it's a live podcast session or something like that. But I look at the show and I say, okay, if I'm coming to the CMU, right? What are we doing here? Like, is this like, are we just here to talk about a beard company, or are we here to learn from each other? Are we here to experience some of the culture that's going on? If that's pop culture, sometimes I throw sports in there. Like, no, I want people to feel like they are at a show, like quote unquote, like the CMU, kind of like Jimmy Kimmel Live or something like that. You know, like those type of vibes. You know, and I
that's
think
what I get.
Yeah, and that's what I think the show is. You know, I incorporate a lot of things. Music is definitely one of them, sound effects, transitions, how I do. But I look at my lives after I'm done, and this is where people don't realize. Like, I look at my previous shows and I look at them as game tape, and I study them, and I say, okay, let me look at this. Why was there dead air at this time? How could I fix that next time? Was I able to interact with this audience member throughout the show? Maybe I never acknowledged them. How do I do that? Now, obviously, at a bigger scale, that's going to be a little bit harder with an audience like that. But it's always like, how do I, like, did people drop off? Did I lose like 10 viewers during this particular segment? Okay, now I know how to switch that for next time and so I'm always looking to improve during the show. I take the show very seriously. Because it's one of my highlights for my week, because I love doing it, and it also just taps into like my different like skill sets, and I love how people react to it, bro. Like, people legit think like it's like a show. It's a show, and I've always been intentional about that. That I wanted people to feel like a show compared to just, you know, showing up and just, you know. So there's that.
Well, I mean, that's exactly how I get it. It doesn't. I wouldn't necessarily say it feels like Jimmy Kimmel. It feels more like a live DJ show that you're normally listening to on your way to work, like, or on your way
like
back
a radio.
from work.
Okay, nice.
And then like you have like call in, like, you remember. I don't know if you guys have this in your area. Have you ever heard of K-Love?
I feel like I've heard it before. Yeah.
Like, it's this woman, and her name is Delilah, and like
Okay.
she, like, that's the station is K-Love, but Delilah, like, she'll have like either a positive story or something like that, and she'll have people calling in. It's a Christian radio station. It's been a while since I've listened to it.
K-Love, yeah. I've heard of K-Love, yeah, for sure.
And
yeah,
Delilah was like the big hit on that show, and like she would have like people calling in, giving her stories, kind of like Bob and Tom, like, but they're more comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hers was
Well, I
more
can see
like
myself.
religious.
Yeah, I can see that vibe for my show. That's kind of like what it emulates in a way, right? It's that thing, especially with going into 2024. I was thinking today, I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to be more comfortable with having people call in on a weekly basis when it makes sense, you know, into the show and interacting and all those things. So yeah, I totally can see that though. And yeah, and again, it's something.
That's what I get.
Yeah, and it's different. I feel like it's different. It's something unique to the space I'm in. So I enjoy it, and I love it, bro. Like, I love it. So I always try to like look back at the replays and grow from there and stuff like that.
And I agree with you. Like, I don't know if every podcast, most big podcasts, like, they don't have to like produce their own editing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I do, and I think I find myself rewatching the video at least 3 times before it's up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So on the first one, I'm trying to find out if where I want to either cut into it or something like that, and then the other one is that I'll try to find clips for either to make in the intro, or I'll find clips to either make shorts out of or something like that. And then my final one is, now I just started doing multicam changing, so like it's going back and forth. So I mean, I'm trying to learn something new every time, and that's where like I've kind of fallen short. Like me wanting to get into podcasting, I really had to dive deep into like audio, video. Well, not even video. Video has been more recent, but like the audio part of things, like I was down at like pre-K level. Like I knew nothing about audio. I didn't know anything about like what a condenser mic was. Didn't know anything about what a dynamic mic was. Like I had to go onto YouTube or anything like that. Like what was your like guess shortcomings? Like did you have something like that too, like I did?
Well, first let me tell you something. I hate audio editing, the worst out of all editing.
Amen. Respectfully.
Let me tell you something. I tried to do a video podcast, and I'm still debating how I'm going to bring that back and stuff like that. But no, I'm sorry, a podcast in general. And I was doing audio editing. And I didn't really like a 40 to 20 minute interview would take me about like 4 hours to edit, plus more than 4 hours to edit an audio podcast, because you got to take
12 hours.
No more than around there, like 8. I think I would get around 8 sometimes. Sometimes I'd do like 3 hours today.
My wife was mad.
Because you got to take out the dead air. You got to take out the ums. It got to the point where the podcast was doing somewhat okay, and I had a sponsor, and I was able to like outsource that type of work because, dude, it takes a lot of work. But let me go back to your question. So yeah, in the beginning, and I encourage people this because I think people, like we as creators, like we can stagnate our growth, right? Because we give ourselves these excuses, to kind of not get us to the next level. And I say that because when I first started off on YouTube, if you go back to my old videos, bro, first of all, I was streaming from my cell phone, right? But what really helped me kind of start switching my content more was my video editing. And for a long time, I was doing all my video editing on my phone. But it would take me hours. And it was comfortable and it was easy. But I got to a point where I'm like, dude, I can't do another 20-minute vlog and edit it on my phone. That takes like 9-10 hours. I can't do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna man up. Stop worrying about, use like if I'm gonna fail to learn the software. And I just took a class. I took a class on Final Cut Pro, learned the system. One of the best decisions I did. You know why? I learned it. I loved it. I challenged myself. I kept growing in it. People love my video editing, my video quality, to the point where I started getting freelance work from other brands and companies to do video editing for them. So you see what I'm saying? If I would have never took that step to say, hey, listen, I'm going to go and take a class on video editing, and I'm going to, learn this, and I'm going to spend time doing this. Now doing that step not only has increased the value of my video, right? Like as far as like what people enjoy watching, it's also helped the show. It's also helped me land freelance work with other brands and other companies. So then that allows me to reinvest in the brand and the show and all that. So I definitely encountered those challenges, bro, especially in the beginning. Like even with my setup. I mean, obviously when you're starting out as a creator, there's a lot, right? There's a lot of stuff you want to do, but you got to work with what you have. But don't be afraid to challenge yourself in areas where you're either a beginner or you feel like you're going to fail. Because, brother, that's part of the journey. Like, you're going to fail no matter what. Like, it's part of it. It's when you stop that you truly, fail.
Because you're almost falling behind more when you just stop because you're not feeding. And I found out that I did that too. But, like, I learned all my stuff on YouTube. I didn't take a class. I mean, I took those free, like, courses that you can find on, like, YouTube.
Yep.
What's that? Think Media, like they'll have like free crash courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't say that I took a course. Like, I would just sit there, watch a video, and if it sounded like something that I would use in a podcast, then I would write it down.
Yeah.
Or I would. It was crazy. I've got so many notebooks of just different stuff. Right? It's crazy. But like you said, like it took the audio. If I hate hearing myself talk, then everybody else is going to hate hearing myself talk. But that's not always true either, because you sound different to other people. But like a podcast is 99% audio, and then after that you can start adding cameras if you want. But like I mean, I'm only saying this because I found ease of it. I'm not getting paid by the company whatsoever.
Yeah.
This right here that you're on, the Riverside platform.
Yeah.
does so much wonders for you, man, for a podcast.
Nice.
Now, I don't know, like live stream, I don't think it would be good for that. And that's my honest opinion. StreamYard has got that down to a locked in, at least what I've used. But you can, from their platform, you can cut out all the pauses and all that stuff. From their platform, you can.
That's great.
It does AI audio enhancements. So, like, I don't need the audio enhancements, but my friends that we do the Chubby Buddies, they don't have like the audio mixer or anything like that. He just either uses his earbuds or he has like this gaming mic. But when I actually go to edit, it sounds like we're in the same room.
Oh,
and that's just off this, and that's just off Riverside. And so I used that, and then I started doing like the transitions or the cuts and the blends of like, because I too have 2 sponsors for the Chubby Buddies.
Nice.
And so I had to kind of learn to incorporate that into the show, and we were doing it live as we were recording, and that got like, it was just, I wanted it to kind of seem more, I guess, professional at that point. So that's where I kind of,
for sure.
We record both of those right before the show, and then we get into the show to where we have more time and not worry about the end.
For sure. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's how I would do it with the podcast. I record either after the podcast or before those inserts for that sponsor of that podcast. So it gives it a more professional touch especially when other possible sponsors want to look into your podcast, and it's like, okay, there's a highlight for them. So.
And what another thing that this program offers is that it's all text-based editing. So like if I wanted to say make a short out of maybe say a story, I say I'm going to make that a short, and all I have to do is go in and type in make that a short, and it'll give me any time that I said it, and then I can go in and look and see where I was at.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
It's pretty awesome, and it cut my like editing time and my post-production down to at least, I think I'm down to 2.5 hours.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Way better
That's
than 12.
really good. Yeah. Nah, dude. It's crazy.
So, like, like I said, I would go onto YouTube and look for ways to, I guess, better myself or educate myself, even before I was recording. So, like, when I had the idea, I did this. Like, is there a content creator other than, like, the Think Media that you really... I don't even know if you watched them, but, like, I use Think Media some, but did you have one that you kind of, like, I guess, got attracted to?
Yeah, there's one content creator that I pick up a lot of game from, and I just love how he knows how to navigate through social media. Roberto Blake. I actually have a membership to his YouTube channel. Yeah, Roberto Blake. I might end up even taking like a private consultation. He is legit when it comes to YouTube growth and understanding YouTube. When it comes to brands and how to grow them, I really like him. I really enjoy. I can't believe I forgot his name, but he is an editor for Mr. He is one of Mr. Beast's video editors, and and I started following him. He's done work for one of the one of the Paul brothers, and I started following him because I wanted to learn how to edit better and understand, because I think people don't realize there's an art to it, how to tell a story. So I started learning from him, Roberto Blake. Think Media is a big popular one. There's a couple of other creators that I follow, but I just can't come up with their names right now.
Well, Think Media was more like, I didn't get as much from them as I did from like really just Google searching it, and then if like say one of those people had a video about it, then I would go. Go to them. Think Media is really good at like, they're good at if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel that's showing you how to do something or giving you information. That's what they're great at. I will give them props 100%. But like, I think you really need to find, like, I had a problem growing up with teachers. I don't know if you had like good teachers, great teachers, or anything like that, but like, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I had a very short attention span. If I was bored, I was getting into some hell. All right, I'm gonna be trying to be a class clown, farting and making fart noises, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think the key for me is that I had to find somebody that had a good enough voice for me to want to pay attention to, and I think that I don't think that gets enough credit. So if like, I don't know if are you a Neil deGrasse Tyson fan?
No.
Do you know who he is?
No.
Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson he does all the stars and space stuff. He talks like about the space and stars, right? He's a black guy. He kind of looks like Don King, but like very like better taken care of.
Yeah.
And he just the way he talks. What about Bob Ross?
I've heard of Bob Ross. Yeah.
Okay, imagine a black Bob Ross that talks about space instead of painting.
Okay.
Like people like that. I want nothing. I don't want to know anything about space. But this guy draws me in so much. I'm like, oh man, I got to learn about some of this new microscope going up into space.
Wait, is it the dude with the little afro? He has a little afro?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know he's been on Rogan and stuff.
He draws me in, man.
Yeah. His
I
voice
want more space.
Yeah. I know
and like I said, it's their voice, and he's just good at the way he talks, and I think that has a lot to do with not just podcasting, but content creation. If you can draw somebody in with like the calmness of your voice, hey, it's okay if you mess that up. Let's Bob Ross it and make it pretty and happy.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's a good amount of creators out there. Another one that I really enjoy, recently found him more, was Ali Abdal. He's a productivity content creator out of the UK. Ali, and then last is spelled, hold on, I'll tell you right now, Abdaal. He has like 5 million subscribers on YouTube, and I really started getting into his content when it comes to productivity, and he has a whole YouTube academy as well and all that stuff. But he's really good. So I enjoy his content, and I always look at content and being a creator as a student of the game. So it's always about learning. And like you mentioned, how the teachers and stuff like that. I think one thing that I picked up from when you were talking and that I relate to is finding people that speak your language. And I'm not talking about English, right? Yeah. I'm talking about people that can really get to you and through you, right? That what they say speaks volumes to you. Maybe it's their 100%. Presentation, maybe it's the way, maybe it's similarities and upbringings, or maybe it's the same journey in a way. So it's important to find that, man. It's important to find that.
So were you always search, you were talking about your video editing and stuff like that? Did you actually use a bunch of them, or were you just I'm going to try this, and if I like it, I'll stick to it? Or did you try several of them before you sat down and said, this is the one?
Yeah, so usually my strategy with that is okay, I record raw, right? So I'll record myself through my software, and then I'll just grab all that and put it down in my video editing software. Now it's okay, this is what my brain does. I don't want to give out my strategy too much, but what I do is I'm okay, let's go to town. How do if I was watching a YouTube video, let's say I'm not there, right? Let's say my name is Mike and I'm someone else. If I was looking at this video right here, would I be interested in it? Would I watch it all the way through? So I look at each footage and I take my personality. I'm okay, would I enjoy this? So then that's when I start the process. Okay, how do I in those 30 seconds, how do I capture the audience, right? What do I say to them that makes them want to stay long? And if they're staying longer, are you going to be straight? Are you going to be still? Are you just going to be there and just talk? Maybe that's not my personality. Now you have to work on B-rolls and transitions and sound effects. And I throw memes in my stuff too to bring some comedic relief, all those things. And I look for the right music for the undertone. It's always, how do I create this so the audience can enjoy it? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, yeah, they may like me as a personality, but you ain't gonna watch the video if it sucks, bro. You may click on it for 30 seconds, but then you're oh, this sucks. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm blessed to have my personality, that who I am and stuff like that. But at the same time, I want you to enjoy what you're watching. I don't want you to just click on it and leave, because that also impacts the algorithm and the success of that video. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I always take that approach, and some other stuff, that I keep close to the chest.
You throw your wallet after you smell something. Take my money.
You know what I mean? I just
Who did you do that to? Who did you do that to? That was a while ago. Was that Joe? Was that Joe at Octane?
I'm not 100% sure, man, but I
remember that because I think I was on that live, when you did that. You're like, take my money.
Yeah, man. No, listen. When I first got into the beard game, oof, man, I spent so much money on beard products.
I'm
Oof.
still trying to use all the stuff that like I have. I mean, I've given a ton out too, but like,
yeah.
If I was to ever change the way that I did this, I would definitely not have been worried about that FOMO, like a fear of missing out, like on the like scent at the time. I would 100% had stuck to like a profile that I liked and then tried that from maybe a new company. But
that's why I think there's categories for people, right? As it relates to that, there's the hobbyist, right? There's the diehard, and then there's the one that's practical, right? Like I know guys that rock with one company or two and that's it. And I think if I wasn't in the beard community, I kind of be the same way. You know what I mean? But I think I found the community. I love, the storytelling behind brands, and I love the scents. And now I'm into getting into colognes and fragrances. So they're all kind of, mismatch and stuff like that well together. They matched it well together. But I also like, I love some labels more than others. And I'm like, oh, and then remember, like this beard community really exploded during the pandemic. At least that's what I think. Yeah. I may be wrong, but that's when the world was slowed down and people were kind of forced to stay home. So like, what do we do? How do we build community, right? How do we still connect with people when we're not able to be near them? And I think that's kind of like, I feel like so it's those things, but yeah.
Do you like what's your favorite? Like, I don't know if you feel comfortable saying this. You don't have to. Like, what's your favorite type of label for a beard oil? Like, because I too have mine. And
I thought you were talking about liquor. I was gonna say Black Label. No, I'm joking. Now, as it relates to labels, it's interesting because I know you got to be, you got to be careful with certain things, right? With like copyright infringement with certain stuff. But I've seen stuff out there in the industry that's cool that reminds me of a show or something like that. But then, I like the classic stuff. There's this beautiful stuff that I see. Like I really enjoy, like, they're simple, but I mean, I think they might have changed it though now. I think they did. But Detroit Grooming's old labels, like they were so
the
classy.
Bottles. I loved those bottles.
Yes, gentleman, classy, dapper. I like beard
like old barbershop is what I got from that. Like that's old time barbershop.
Yeah. I like Beard Octane's new labels. They do a lot of like graphic design with their stuff. And this, Copper Johns, I like their new style of it, how it looks. So yeah, but again, everyone's different. Like, I'm a bachelor. You feel me? I'm not married yet. I want to, but have a wife and kids and all that. So for me, like what I look for now when it comes to that stuff is like, dapper gentleman, bachelor type thing, that type of swag, so
yeah, like I don't know the one. I'm actually looking at the bottle, but like it's black. Here, I'll just grab it because this is one of my favorite bottles.
Yeah. Oh man, this is awesome. Let me see what you got.
All right.
Oh, what's that?
Fellowship beard brand. Yeah, the Fellowship brand.
Okay.
This is one that I think the cousins kind of really brought to surface, like on their channel, because one of the guys is like in a band or something.
Oh, okay.
It's just so clean. Oh, yeah. But the bottle, it's just simple. Like it doesn't stand out. It doesn't need to stand out. Like as long as I know what I'm going for, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But I totally get you. Like I love a good like black and white or I don't even know, steampunk maybe, but like old barbershop style. Like that's just And I look up there and I'm like, man, I bought all that, and I there's no way that I could use everything once. Well, now I probably could because I've dialed it down a little bit. But it's good to have friends with beards because hey, try this. Man.
Oh no, for real, I'll be hooking people up, bro. I'll be like, yo, just take this. Like,
I took some of my oils that I knew that I wouldn't like necessarily use all of them to my barber, and he was handing them out to guys with beards, like when they would come in for a cut.
Yeah,
and like I didn't give him the butter just because I had my hands in it, and I don't think that's very sanitary.
Yeah,
it was during
for sure.
COVID, but I gave them the oil because I don't touch anything that's inside the oil. As long as it was fine and wasn't over half full, then I gave that to him to where he had at least over 3/4 of a bottle.
For sure.
But no, like I agree with you. The community was it's funny to watch how people, like, I wouldn't say change, but like how they jump around to like different cliques and how it's really like watching high school all over again, but from the outside in.
Mm.
And I haven't been able to get into as many lives as it was, like you said, during COVID. But when I do go in there, like it's awesome to see that like you're now at like an average of 50 people to stream. And I remember when Dan was at that level, he was only averaging 50 to 60 guys to stream, and he's booming. But like that's what I like, is watching the like taking their content to another level. Like Dan blew up. Like he was pumped about when he got his what was it? The Rodecaster Pro? Is that what it was? When he got that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would love to get that, but I don't need that. I mean, as long as I'm just here with you online across a few states, then I don't need nothing like that. But
for sure,
that's one thing that I wish that I wouldn't try to do, was like try to, I got to have the best of this, because you don't have to have the best of this. As long as you have a reason to do what you want to do, then I think you'll succeed at certain things that you wouldn't expect to succeed in down the road.
Yeah, for sure. And I always say, like, like that's one of the things, right? Like I was like the first person in the beard community to have the Rodecaster Pro and bring that thing to the table, right? In a way, but it's like it has to make sense. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that other creators from different places may have or may not have, and it's funny because Dan, a mutual friend of ours, he'll tell me like if I want to get some new tech, he'll kind of like calm me down. Like, do you really need that? You know what I mean? So shout out to Dan. But I just always say, like, whatever you invest in, like, make sure it fits with who you are and what you're doing, right? For me, I don't right now. Like, I would love to have other stuff as tech wise, but I'm good right now. I don't need to invest in that side of it. You know what I mean? So for anyone listening, just like if you're going to invest in your brand and your content or whatever, just make sure it makes sense where you currently are at in your journey with that. So.
Like where you're slacking at, or something that you want to add to your channel, not necessarily make better, but add to it. So like something you didn't have, kind of like the Rodecaster, you brought music into a live stream, and like nobody was, you still like, you don't hear that. Like Ken will have like an ambiance in the background, and he just started doing that probably when he came back to the beard game, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if he was doing that. No, I think he had the Rodecaster before that. Yeah. But I don't know if he was doing it like that. I'm not sure.
But like your channel itself is unique in many different ways, and I appreciate it for several reasons. One, you get everybody involved in, whether it be a question about something that's coming up, and that's what kind of makes me mad, like when I haven't dropped an episode and people drop stories, kind of like how you were like talking about that gift exchange with the grandma. Me and my buddy literally recorded an episode a week before that, and it just dropped today about that. Well, not that story, but it was like the very first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the best prank on somebody.
That's a really good prank. Yo, nah, but you know what's messed up a little bit? Somebody was in the comments like, yo, you guys gotta chill. You're gonna think your grandma losing her mind. You gotta chill with that. I'm like, oh man. You know what I mean? Poor older lady, you making her have double, question her memory. You gotta chill.
But the one that I saw, she was excited for everybody, because like some people like would take like these antique plates, and they stuffed them in a bag and gave them to their cousin, and it was hers. She was, I have some just like that.
Yeah,
and I was like, and then like I think the last one was like a picture of her and their grandpa. Like I don't know if he was passed away or if she was like, is that mine? And then they're like, yeah, this is all yours. And she's like, for a whole year, they stole something out of her house to pack away to give for a whole year. All of her grandkids and her kids would take something.
Oh my God, bro!
Like, man, I would notice if something like that was gone.
I love seeing the videos, because first of all, I love the reactions of the grandmas. Like once they find out, they're not even mad; they're just laughing, and they're like, "You guys," And then the comments, obviously, like the internet is undefeated with, like literally, I feel like when it comes to social media, you see the video, but the next step is go to the comments, because someone always has a great comment, either like to aid to the laughter, the joy, or to troll it. And I'm always entertained, bro. Like that's one thing. Like social media has a funny way of doing these things, man, with that.
Well, speaking of comments, like I didn't even have this on the table. Like there's one other thing that I have to give you props to. Like I have not heard, at least maybe I haven't like been maybe to the right channels, but I haven't heard one person say anything negative about you as a content creator or as a reviewer or a live streamer. And I also have never really noticed anything that you've changed. You haven't changed since day one that I started watching you. So
No,
like,
yeah.
do you get like hate mail or do you get like hate comments like outside of here and you just don't like respond? Because I love responding to it, and that's why I'm asking.
You got a little pettiness, huh? You got a little petty.
It's not even petty. Like it's. I want to hit them with something like, oh, I didn't expect that. Like,
Yeah.
I work at a prison, so like when they talk to you, and like I'm not gonna put you down. I'm gonna ask you a simple question. Does that make sense? Tell me how that makes sense for you to wash your hands over somebody's food. Tell me that, please.
Yeah.
And if they can't do it, I'd be like, okay. And then I walk away, and then they sit there and you think about it. They're like, oh shit, they don't make sense.
Yeah. So when it comes to one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was never address drama publicly. Right. I got that piece of advice at one time in my life. Dan, a good friend of ours, he told me that, and I always stuck with it ever since. You know, the times I want to throw a little subtle jab, you know, a little pettiness, I bite my tongue. You know what I mean? And then I kind of just learned that, dude. I mean, I ain't trying to sound like, you know, no tough guy, nothing like that. But I always say to myself, people are going to have an opinion of you, either good or bad, either way. And let me be honest with you. No one's pulling up to your house. No one, you ain't going to run into these people. Why give the energy? You feel me? You know, growing up in school, you know, those type of things, you know, like if someone says something to you, they said it to you right there, and then you got to handle it right there. So my thing is like, most part of it, man, people are either insecure and look, I'm okay with you not liking me. You think I'm too loud. You think, you know, the air horns and the sound effects is not your thing. That's okay, homie. Like, just go somewhere else then. You don't, like, if I don't like someone, I'm not going to invest in looking for them, you know, or making it my priority to verbalize on a public platform that I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of how I was raised and kind of how I was grew up. Like, if you got issues with somebody, you know, you take care of that a certain type of way. But on social media, I just leave it alone, bro. Like, what? You know, you're going to crack on me, maybe my setup, maybe my weight, maybe the way I talk. Like, okay, you feel powerful. Now what? What you going to do? Like, you know what I mean? So I don't let that stuff bother me, man. I just don't. Like, and if I did at one point, I'll talk to a friend about it and let it go. Like, I just think it's kind of corny. Like, you don't have to like someone. And there's people I don't like. But you probably won't even know that. You be like, yo, J. Cruz probably the coolest cat.
He watches everybody's videos.
Yeah. Like, but there's some people I'm not fond of, but I keep that to myself. I'll talk to my friend about it and just keep it there. Cause sometimes you gotta get that stuff out. Like I have had friends that I'll be like, yo, bro, if you're angry about a situation or somebody, call me. Let it out here. Because I'd rather you do it here than go on social media and start going crazy. I'd rather you do it. You can curse, you can say whatever you want. It ain't gonna go past here, okay? Because I need you to be comfortable to have a safe place, and I think that's important. So, but you know, trolls are trolls, man. It is what it is, bro.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that I go out to look for them, but like if I get a snarky comment, like on, I think I've only had one. I don't have that big of a outreach of comments or anything like that, and I'm fine with that. But like, I like the quick wittedness, like the stand up comedic part of me wants to go. Oh yeah. Man. Like that's what I enjoy. Like to make it back. Even funnier. Yeah, like not even troll them, just make them go what do I even do with this now? Like to where you're like, oh, last man standing, I guess. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna move on to the next guy. That's what I enjoy from it. Not even pointing it out to them or like pointing it out to anybody else. It's just like kind of making them think. Just make them think about it at least a little bit, but do it in a funny way. Be like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you hitting something on the video.
Yes, I don't know if I heard it in a rap song or somewhere. It's like, yo, never let them see you sweat. Like I get comments sometimes about they're like, oh man, why your mustache not connecting? And I'm like, oh my dude, I didn't even know that. I appreciate you letting me know now, you know? And it's like, or whatever, like, because people, it's like, I don't know. The world is interesting, man. That's why, like, social media has its place, but is it reality? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, life still goes on after the camera. It's
like gaming and you hear that little kid in your ear, oh, I just killed you punk.
Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
You know what I mean? So, there's that. But, you know what I mean? I think, like, you know, on social media, we are who we are. We are authentically who we are. But at the same time, I say, is it really real? It's because are we really, after the camera's off, are we still having that relationship? With the people that are negative, we're not. So it's not real, you know. But the people that care about us and we support each other, all that, yeah, that's real. You know, you grow with that, you know, and you build off of that. But yeah, so I kind of learned that a while ago, bro. I don't give a cadence. You know what I mean? So
and that's why I like, just like everybody else that's been attacked, whether it be on social media or anything like that. Like, I have not heard one bad thing said about you as a person. So like, it's got to be something. At least in my eyes, I would like, hey, apparently I'm doing something right, because they don't have anything to critique about you, whether it be good or bad. In my eyes, but like, you were, I don't think you were part of any of the stuff that was going on, like with other social media or content creators, but like, it's got to actually feel good to be like, you know, maybe I'm doing it so good that they don't have anything bad to say. So it's like, hey, I'm moving on up. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's a way to see it too. I keep my circle, like my circle of people, and I just do me, bro. Like, I'm not looking for people that don't like me. If you like me, you rock with me. If you don't like me, there's hundreds and thousands of creators out there that you can go follow and be part of. Mm-hmm. I just want to be around people that rock with what we got going on, and I rock with what they got going. Simple as that.
Well, can I ask you one thing? Because I've always wondered this. Because where do you get your music to be able to play live like that, bro? Some of that music sounds like something you got from DJ Khaled himself. Is that like a program you use?
So I have I have a website that I go. It's called Epidemic Sounds. Epidemic Sounds. You can like sign up there. It's like $15 a month. But more recently, in the last 4 or 5 months, I got in contact with a producer out of Sweden or France, and he does a lot of beat making and stuff like that. So I was sampling some of his stuff from YouTube, but you got to be careful with that because you need a license for that. Because a creator can flag you. So I went through the proper channels. Actually, it was really cool. Some of the people on the CMU donated to get those licenses for the show because they like the music. So I was able to go to the producer's website. Then I was sending him some messages via email because there was an issue with some of the stuff. And I bought the leases, the music leases to be able to play that. And there's another producer that I'm planning in 2024 to get 2 songs from, but they fit the vibe of the show. You know what I mean? And it's a vibe, bro. Like, it's just swagged out. Like, I just love how the vibe is of the show. You know, it feels kind of like that DJ type morning show radio host, type vibe. So yeah. I really enjoy that though.
Well, like, and people don't know this unless they ask, and that's why like I think that this type of setting, I don't want to worry about what necessarily everybody else is saying, and that's why I think this is a good, meaningful, like, sit down and conversations, because some content creators, they might have questions, and sometimes they don't get the right answers to that question, and that's, I mean, you'll never lose from at least asking, because at least you've asked the question.
Yeah, if anybody's listening, man, it's great to also look for those underground producers out there. If somehow music makes sense with your brand, your content, and all that, your company, like, check them guys out. A lot of them are up and coming, but they're talented, or some of them are more established, and prices ranges and stuff like that. So, but again, it's always how to make the experience better for the audience, right? That's watching the show.
I love the music vibe. So that right there, you were the first to do it, and that just keeps you involved. So like, when you bring up like new music in the industry, like, you were in a total different part of America than I am, so I couldn't tell you who you should listen to now. But like, I'm still stuck on like some of the '90s and early 2000s stuff, man. Like, Creed's making their way back, man, and I'm happy.
But you see, it's that's why I say the community is very interesting in the show, and the audience is part of the show is very diverse, because I learn from them and they learn from me, right? I mean, I couldn't, the other day we were playing, we had our segment on our show called What's Is Great, and I was talking about Pink Floyd, and I know people were like, what the freak? How does Cruz know about Pink Floyd? I'm like, listen, man, I heard about them.
How old are you?
I don't know, they're 34.
Okay, so you're not much younger than me. So now I feel better.
Yeah. So, but again, you got to think of, like, I grew up on the East Coast. I come from a Latino culture and all this stuff, but I appreciate music. So That's why like the whole Dolly Parton thing was pretty interesting. And people kind of took it as a joke, like, oh, who's Dolly Parton? Why you keep saying Dolly Parton? And I'm like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna find out who this lady is. And that's when I did my research. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
So have any of those gotten you into like maybe like finding a favorite artist or anything like that?
Well, no. Well, I still have my favorite artists. I'm really big into like hip hop, old school R&B. Of course, like the Latino culture, like merengue, salsa, bachata, dembow. But man, I'll tell you what, there's some people out there that I recently I started. Listen, I used to hate country music, but now I kind of rock with it, bro. There's some
like
good
the new
stuff out there.
Or the old stuff.
Well, I like Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll, I started seeing some of his stuff. There's another group. Dang, yo, I forgot the name of it, but there's a couple of other country songs that I've heard that I'm like, okay, I rock with this. Oh, one, shout out to Zach from North Carolina. He got me up on Shenandoah. You know what I'm talking about? Shenandoah?
Shenandoah. Oh, that's it's like a lead singer's a girl, isn't it?
No. It's a group. It was a group called Shenandoah, and I did a release for his company, and the song was called 2 Dozen Roses. Bro, it's a country song, but I love it, bro. I will play the repeat of that song. It is so funny because again, like just like how culturally different it is from my environment, but for me to appreciate that, it's pretty cool, bro. It's pretty cool. Like I love that stuff.
I love I mean, I don't even say it's the old stuff. It's still very recent. Like 1990s is not that long ago.
Heck no.
I still dig Hootie and the Blowfish. I still dig me some Creed. Like I could listen to pretty much anything as long as like I can understand it. So like I'll typically listen to anything that's not ICP. Like I can't listen to that at all.
There's one genre that I can't listen to. I've tried, but it's death metal. I just can't, bro.
Now, what's your version of death metal? Like, is it Five Finger Death Punch? Okay, Lamb of God is pretty ruckus. Like, it's pretty out there.
Yeah.
But like there's some metal that like you can actually hear the words coming out of their mouth, and it's not that.
But dude, there's some stuff out there that's a little too extreme.
Skillet?
For me.
You ever heard of Skillet?
I feel like I've heard of them. Yeah.
It's a Christian metal band, and like you can actually Monster is probably my favorite song by them.
Someone told me to listen to Korn. Korn is like more mellowed out. Like
it is. It's you can understand the words. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's a plus for me. I mean I like Five Finger Death Punch. Like it's good for the different vibe that you get that day. But
I'll tell you one that scared the crap out of me a little bit and it threw me off. Gave me the ick. Some group named Guar. Okay, I was driving back from a festival. I was working a weekend as a videographer for a company, and we were talking about Guar. And they told me about them. They showed me pictures, and then I'm like, "Oh nah, I'm cool. I ain't messing with that." So I just know it's very different out there. You feel me? Like I remember something about it, people going on stage in a plant eating people. I'm like, nah, I'm good, homie. I'm gonna chill with my music, But I gave it a chance. I gave it a chance. I listened to.
That's a world in itself when you go to stuff like that. Like it's like borderline cult. Like,
yo, bro. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna chill out. I listen to my music on Spotify.
But you get like a different vibe when you go out east. Like you get like those underground creators. Like here, if I want an underground creator, I got to find some dude that thinks he can rap but he can't. Like I got the wish list Eminem.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like. One of the cool things about being a content creator in my personal journey is that I've been able to travel. I've been able to travel. A couple of years ago, I went out to, shout out to Tyson from Copper Johns. I went out to the Copper Johns first ever retreat. And that was an experience, bro. I got to go to Yellowstone, got to see some bison up close, saw Old Faithful. But here's the thing, right? It's like you go to other parts of the country, and you realize that people are actually nice, compared to the East Coast. If you come to Jersey and New York, people ain't gonna stop talk to you. They ain't gonna tell you, "Hey, how you doing?" That's not our cultural norm out here. So when I go to places like Utah, down South Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, and I get this culture shock where people are actually willing to talk to you, willing to be nice to you. It's like, oh, dang, it's like that, you know. Obviously, I know every part has its own stuff, but you know, it's definitely something that opened my eyes to when I started traveling and stuff like that. So,
well, it's kind of like watching Crocodile Dundee like live. Like he comes from this like small neck of the woods that he hunts alligators, and then he comes to the big city in New York, and completely, it's a total different world. And I couldn't imagine. I've never been to New York or Jersey, so
no,
it is a different. It's just watching people react to things. Just even watching YouTube, it's like, wow, these people really hate people. Like that's what you get. It's like one of my favorite content creators is Dave Portnoy. Like I've never hated one of he may come off to some people as a jerk or a dickhead, right? But I love it because he's honest. He's himself. I love pizza. I've gotten so into pizza, it's not even funny, man.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something about. It's so funny you mentioned Dave, right? Because I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, you know, Dave seems like, you know, he seems like a little bit asshole. You know, he could be an asshole, right? But I feel that if you're friends with Dave, he's that one loyal friend that you can. He's the guy that's.
Yeah, he's the guy that's there. He's the guy going to be there. He's going to answer that phone at 3:30 in the morning.
Yes,
what you need, bud?
And I like that about him because at first he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, he seems like a jerk, you know? But the more I got to understand him and all that through social media, I'm like, you know what? This is a guy that just wears his heart on his sleeve. He don't care. But if he's rocking with you, he rocks with you. You know who else I love from Barstool? Frank the Tank. Yo,
there's not one guy from Barstool that I don't like. Like, there's some of those, like, Barstool is almost like watching YouTube. Like, Barstool could be its own content, like, hub, like YouTube. Like, because you have so many, they have a plethora.
I would love to interview Frank the Tank. I'm not even BSing you. I just
he would be fun.
I just love how funny he is, how passionate he is. He's actually on his own, like, health journey, too. He's been doing a lot of walks. He's lost some weight. But you know, man, Barstool's, it's like entertainment at its fullest. What's the other guy? You
got the guy that does the interviews. That he kind of does like
Caleb. Caleb is funny too, yo. He's funny, man. Glenny Balls is another one.
Glenny Balls is a little wild. Like, you don't know
he stopped producing content. I feel like.
Oh, really?
Right? I feel like he slowed down. I know at one point.
I don't even know if I followed his content side of things, but I 100% watched Frank the Tank. Like, I watched him. I think he's the guy that is really good at like Heisman Trophy knowledge.
Yeah. Oh no, like he's an encyclopedia, bro.
Oh like, my gosh! Like the way that he could tell you like the only stadium named after a World War II vet that was also.
Oh, dude, I love he's like, just
dang.
Like when the Dolphins suck. He has these meltdowns.
Oh,
oh my god!
He left the game at halftime when Dave paid for him to go to one of the games. I think it was them versus the Chiefs or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like Dave, I know a lot of people have, but he's one of those cats that wears his sleeve on his heart. Obviously he's not perfect. He's made some mistakes. I feel like in certain things he said. Yeah, as we all have, you know. But it's important to grow and you know learn from it. But he has another podcast on there. That I enjoy sometimes is $1 million worth of game with Gilly and Wallow. They signed to Barstool Sports, and those guys are on there. They interview a lot of like the athletes, the rappers, and entrepreneurs. Okay. Yeah,
that's like KFC. KFC Radio is one of my favorites that I watch of his. It's probably a lot like that.
KNC.
KFC.
For real? What was that?
Well, it's called KFC Radio. Like that's the one that they bring on like stand-up comedians or they'll bring on athletes kind of like that. But I haven't heard of them, the ones you just mentioned.
Yeah, Gilly and Wallow, they're out of Pennsylvania, out of Philadelphia. They signed I heard it was like $100 million contract with Barstools to be part of their podcast format. Yeah, and
I know that's how Pat McAfee started too.
Yeah. Oh, Pat McAfee is a character. Yeah. Bro. Pat McAfee's another guy that if like you don't know him, he'll rub you the wrong way. I feel like for some people, but he's got his voice back. Yeah. Yep. Another like now you gotta listen. Like you'll watch this podcast, but it makes a lot more sense if you're from the East Coast. It's called "It Is What It Is."
I love that podcast.
With Cameron
they talk
and
about
Mace.
some wild stuff.
Yeah, bro.
One of them's a minister, isn't he?
Yo,
I was
Mace,
like, what?
Mace, yeah, Mace. That's a whole nother different topic. I don't know how he manages that, but no, Mace and Cameron is one of my favorite rappers because I used to be a big Dipset fan back in the day. So even now, when I see Cameron doing this thing, because that's all him, he just got a contract, like a sponsorship with Underdog Fantasy Sports Betting. Like he's doing it big, and I love his take on sports. You know what I mean? So there's a couple of content creators that I watch and I just enjoy. That's why, like, cable is still around, but it's really the streaming, bro. It's you can sign up for Max, Netflix, but YouTube, bro, it's like infinite content. Like you know what I mean?
Get a degree on YouTube,
bro. It's crazy. That's why, I like definitely them. I have a podcast that I love to watch. I actually was working with them at one point. It's called the Boxing Boys. They're like the #1 boxing podcast on YouTube, and their show is ridiculously good. Like it's debates, but when it comes to boxing, there's a lot of testosterone involved. So sometimes people will call, they'll sound threatening, but it's all an entertainment. You know what I mean? I enjoy content. So like that's what I'm saying. Like with these podcasts, I know we just got here because we were talking about Barstools, but listen, working at Barstool is
what I want it to be. I want it to be cool and hang out. Just talk about whatever you want, man. Like, I don't know how much time you have left, but
Barstools is I would love to work there because I'm pretty sure
that would be so fun.
It is like a frat house, though. I ain't gonna stunt. It is like a frat house, bro.
You better be a bachelor if you want to go work for him, though. But this is one thing I will highlight about Dave Portnoy. He gives anybody who is willing to put in the work a chance, and that's something that I don't think he gets enough credit for. Like, he does live interviews, yes, but that's for the comic relief. But like, he got a guy to drop out of college to work for him. He's like, why don't you come work for me? Like, that is like that has to be. He reminds me a lot of a younger version of Dana White.
Interesting.
He knows what he wants, and he tells you what he wants. And if you are a part of that, like I guess equation, then there's a spot for you in Barstool. And Dana White is he's very similar. If there's a spot for you in Dana White's world, love that. Dana White is one of my favorite presidents of an organization. He lays everything out on the line. He's very transparent. Hey, it is what it is.
One thing about Dana White that I realized, man, he's very unapologetically him. You know what I mean? And I think certain platforms, that's why they gravitate towards Dana White. Like you got like the Nelk Boys, them and the whole Dana White and UFC collaboration. Like those guys work very well together. I enjoy the UFC, bro. I love the UFC fights.
UFC. I would love to do a UFC podcast.
Oh, dude.
You don't see very many except from maybe Joe Rogan or the big guys. But
there's a couple of good YouTube content creators in the MMA space. MMA expert on YouTube. He's a younger cat. He does a lot of sports betting stuff for MMA too. He's really good. I think another one is called the Mexican MMA Guru. He's another cat. I think he's out of California. He has a big following too. There's another guy out of the UK that I've seen before. I don't know his name off the back, but yeah, there's a couple of good MMA content creators, bro. I mean, they know they stuff, and it's always entertaining. I do a couple things at the same time, but when I'm just chilling, watching YouTube, I like to just be one of the homies, man. You could bust chops, it's all good.
Sitting at a bar talking.
That's
the best.
Yeah.
That was the idea about this. I wanted to have I have had a couple people come over, but I just wanted you to sit down. And my goal is just to find out what your favorite drink is, right? And then when I invite you over here, then I have a reason for you to want to come back over here because I've got your favorite bottle over here. And then we'll sit down and shoot the shit for a while and just talk. And that's all that people need in life is another person, whether it's just somebody to talk to or just to even celebrate with. That's another thing.
Man, listen, my favorite drink, right? I might be a little old school with this, but Long Island iced teas. But you see, but here's the problem with Long Island iced teas, right?
They knock you out.
It tastes so good, and you don't realize you just had 3. and then you feeling it. You feel me?
We used to call those the creeps because they creeping up on you.
Man,
Like,
listen.
did you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
No. Sometimes, yeah, a couple
That's
episodes.
That's the first drink that you see Sheldon on Big Bang Theory.
For real?
I would like to have hot tea, and she's like, I have Long Island iced tea, and he goes, tea's tea, and so she pours them, and he chugs them. He chugs like 6 of them. He's done.
No,
Dundee.
let me tell you. So I don't drink anymore. But when I was drinking, Long Island iced teas was something that I would have. Like now, it's rare if you catch me with a beverage, bro. It's rare. Like I think I may have one last year, like twice last year. But if I'll have it, it'll be like a Corona, typical, right? But I'll have something like
I didn't say it,
like a Corona or a Heineken, Modelo, stuff like that.
Heineken's good.
Yeah, Modelo. I don't think I've tried Modelo, but Heineken and Corona's classic, and I actually do enjoy Corona. Like
Dos Equis Amber is my favorite imported beer.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I never got into. Just because I'm not really a drinker, but I know there's a big like following with like craft beers, right? And I always kind of like that. Like somebody in the community that we're part, Beer Vato, he always talks about like these IPAs and these sours, and I hear them like, and I just like the science behind it or like how they create the stuff. I don't taste stuff, but it's pretty cool to hear it, and like how different names and all that. Like one of my favorite shows till this day is Bar Rescue. I don't know if you've ever seen Bar Rescue. But I mean,
I had a guy on here that was actually on the episode.
Shut the front door.
Like we worked together at the prison, and he came on and told me the whole story. Like he used to work right there in it was a bar in Detroit.
Oh my god, dude! I love John Taffer, bro. I love that cat. I love
another
that
Dana White guy. He's very he's unapologetically him. He is.
Yeah. But I also feel like John Taffer's more of a gentleman, though. I feel like Dana White don't give.
He's very much camera oriented. So like his attitude's going to come more out on camera for sure. But that was my idea. I wanted to sit down with somebody, kind of like how you were talking about. Yeah. And the name of the episode was going to be what we were drinking. Like that was my plan. And then But I mean, ideas are ideas.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Nah, but I a couple of those shows, man, I love. I just started watching Entourage a little bit again. Like when I have free time, bro, I love watching shows. You know what I mean?
Entourage. Now, I tried watching the movie. I don't think I got it because I should have watched the TV show before I watched the movie.
The show's way better. The show's way
the show is like
better.
So out there, and I was like, Ronda Rousey's in it. And I was like,
no, the show's way better, bro. That one, I like Ballers as well. That was another HBO.
Loved Ballers. That reminded me.
Ballers.
Do you remember the TV show? Not Hard Knocks. It had Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother, Omar Gooding.
Okay.
It was pretty much portraying like what you don't see in an NFL locker room or behind the scenes in the NFL, and it got Playmakers. It was called Playmakers. It was so good. It reminded me of Ballers.
Okay. Kind of that same
Ballers.
setup.
Love Ballers.
Yeah, no, I love Ballers. Yeah, but are you still drink beer and stuff like that?
Okay, so for the longest time I thought gout was a fake thing. Like I didn't realize gout was like legitimate, like in everybody's day in life. But what I found out is if I consume more than 4 or 5 beers, my gout flares up.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So I've had to cut back completely. I pretty much cut back completely on beer.
Oh, wow.
But I'm a whiskey drinker. I'll sip on a whiskey. I'll have a cigar.
Yeah.
I love like you said, I love the culture behind it. Like it.
Yeah.
There is something that goes a long way with just sitting down and sipping on a very good tasted whiskey or even a cigar. It's just and the thing that I've learned is that the length of the cigar is how long your conversation can be. And you can learn so much in that. Like, it's a conversation piece just because you have to sit down and take your time to enjoy it. Enjoy the cigar, enjoy the drink, enjoy the person that you're sitting across from talking to.
Yeah.
Like, the podcast is just another word for cigar.
Yeah, I know there's a big culture with that, with cigars and stuff like that. Like even like now, if I go on a date, if I'm like, with a shorty or whatever, and I'm taking her to a steakhouse or something like that, then I'll get a wine. Like I'll do that. I'll get like a red wine with my steak or something like that. But I know. Like I've been to a brewery one time, and it was a cool experience because I got to try a couple of their different custom ones or whatever. And I thought that was cool. And they explain it to you kind of how they make it or the yield or whatever it is. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
One that I do like, it's considered a beer, is those Hard Mountain Dews. They're pretty good.
Oh, I've seen those. Okay, yeah. I've seen those.
A buddy of mine brought them back for me, and I tried them all like on one of the episodes of the podcast. It was
okay.
The Live Wire is hands down the best.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Nice. He said, "Oh yeah." For sure.
But no, I mean, I haven't had like a glass of whiskey probably in a couple months, just because I've been so busy.
Gotcha.
Some stuff came up with my wife, and I really had to be there for that. And then
For
I mean, drinking's not necessarily my thing like it used to be. Like I used to be wildin', right? Like that was
yeah.
I could have probably easily like not be sitting here today just because of the stupid stuff that I would have probably done. So
gotcha. Yeah.
When you get older, like that whole like drinking thing falls out because you feel
you feel that the next day, or you feel it a couple hours later. Yeah.
Even after 2 drinks, I'm ready for bed, man. Like I want to go lay
You're
down.
like, all right, that's it. We done here.
Yeah.
Man, funny.
But I mean, I don't know if like you want to keep talking, but like I mean, I just appreciate you taking your time. I know how busy you are, so like
I appreciate it, man.
I mean, like my goal is to do like a 6-month catch up, maybe like down the road. And I know that you were wanting to talk about kind of like your plans for 2024. Weren't you going to be doing like your fitness journey again?
Yeah, so I definitely, that's one thing. Holidays, I had some interesting conversations with family and stuff like that, and it's like, man, I really got to get back on my health journey, because also like I recently had an injury, and that took me out the gym for. I'm still recovering. I gotta get an X-ray done because I screwed up my knee. But I also noticed, like, the best version of me is a well taken care version of me. When I'm functioning on all cylinders, eating healthy, losing weight. That instills a self of discipline in me, and everything works smoother. And even the mental part of it, I think that's what people don't realize. Like cognitively, if you're taking care of yourself, and I don't mean like, vegetables and fruits all day, but I'm talking about drinking enough water, talking about, incorporating more greens into your food, not stepping away from fast food, maybe walking daily. Like those things really do make a difference, so those things. But I'm excited because I was telling people about me starting my second show once a month. I'm going to start off for the first 3 months doing once a month. If there's a good response of people, then I'll do it twice a month. It's a lunch hour show, and that will be on Fridays. And I was doing it at one point. I was doing 2 shows a week. And people enjoyed that lunch hour show because it definitely wasn't anything about beards. It was more about lifestyle and talking about, some of the things as it relates to everyday life and food and all the pop culture, the stuff that's going on currently. And it was always a good segment because a lot of people were at work and a lot of people were listening to it on their lunch break and stuff like that. So that might come back. Definitely want to get more back into this space of interviewing people and doing podcast stuff like that, because I actually do enjoy interviewing people. So I always like that, and just keep creating content. Of definitely more focus this year. Of course, the grooming part, yes, but lifestyle as well, right? So don't be surprised to see some videos out there about like just overall grooming or personal development. And I'm not talking about in a corny way, like me in front of a mirror talking about, but not like, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm learning. This is what helped me. 5 steps to help me lose my first 50 pounds. Boom. And it's like, me editing it correctly, showing you the journey and stuff like that. So a couple of those things, man, because again, it's like healthy bearded, but it's always been, incorporating health and wealthness together, that bringing that different aspect into the game.
Right. It's the community meetup just on another scale, pretty much.
Yeah. No, the show will still be like, I've been thinking about this week. I was thinking like, okay, I'm going to spend maybe like Saturday, like 6 hours working on the show with new overlays, new ideas, new segments, stuff like that to make the show more engaging and having people on there. Because again, like we're part of a beard community, right? And obviously we're part of it, but I also want to attract new people that may not have beards. And how does that work with what we're doing at the CMU? So now we incorporate the grooming and the self-care lifestyle part of it. And as again, I don't want you guys to show up to the show and be bored.
I don't think they will. I mean,
you know what I mean?
I don't think it's possible with the way that you produce things. I don't think it's possible, and that's coming from you at not just. I don't watch you just for the beard content. I watch you for the setting that you put in place, and that's really what I think draws a lot of the people in. But granted, a lot of those people are in the beard community, but there's also people that aren't in the beard. Well, not necessarily aren't, but they're not necessarily growing a beard. You got women in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I think like, so on average now we're doing anywhere from like low end 50, high end 70, middle range 60, 65 people a week. If we have a sponsored company and there's things involved, then we hit that 70, 80 range. And whenever there's a big event, we usually do 100 plus. So it's always also me, like, how do I get more people to be part of this show and enjoy the show and invite a friend and so forth. So that's going to be, part of my homework for 2024 as we get ready there to how to expand the show and grow it and get more people involved,
Well, I know that you wanted to share a little bit about that, but like if you were if I asked you, like, what's one thing that you would just lay out on the table for anybody who wanted to kind of do not just what you do, but like be on the same level as you with like how motivated you are to create content, not just hit record. Like Ken was always into that whole just hit record. Yes. Like, what's one thing that you wish that you could just tell somebody? It's not just as simple necessarily as hit record, but it is, but is there something that you could add to that pyramid of I guess growth that somebody may not have really in their I guess toolbox yet?
I would say don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be different. When you go into content creation, you kind of look at everyone and you say, okay, you want to kind of be like them. You kind of want to have their numbers, or you kind of want to have their viewership, and you want to gain that. A lot of people, when they start off that, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think when you compromise wanting exactly what they have or who they are, you compromise your ability to bring something different to the table. And I think part of my journey was understanding, hey, listen, the world doesn't need another X, Y, and Z. The world needs a J. Cruz. How do you bring something different to the table? And when you can find that, I think that's when you truly unlock happiness in your journey and unlock the ability to grow, right? Because you want to be able to bring something different to the table. So don't be afraid to be different. And what that looks like and how that looks like is different for everyone, right? It may be how you approach content. It may be, your visuals. It may be what information you deposit in people. So it's all those different things. But I definitely highly recommend don't be afraid to be different.
The only thing I would add to that, I 100% agree with that. Don't be afraid to fail either, because that's what makes it better.
Yeah.
So like I've seen people start off with using their cell phones and it's all grainy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll get to that point if you actually dedicate your time and your effort into making quality content in itself. As long as you have something to start with, I think that's where it's going to really pay off in the long run. As long as you allow yourself to fail, that almost like losing a game. Like if you don't know how to lose, you're not going to know how to win when it comes up to the big game. So
I was having a conversation with a couple of other content creators, and we were talking about, a lot of people sometimes start off content creation. Well, I don't want to say a lot. There are some people that start off content creation thinking it's going to be easy, thinking that the first 100 subscribers are going to come like in a matter of a week. And the reality of that is that sometimes they may, but they're not going to stay. Or what are you giving to them in value that they're going to want to keep coming back to you? You know what I mean? And I think if you approach it, and I had to learn this hard way, man. Listen, no one owes you anything. And I know as a creator, sometimes we have this illusion when you're starting off that people have to watch your content, or should you watch your content? And
give them a reason to.
Exactly. Why should they care to watch your content? Why should they care to be part of what you're doing. And I know, like I said, I know it sounds a little harsh, but it's a true lesson. And just put in the work. You know, be okay, like you said, be okay with failing. Okay, this video didn't do well. Okay, let's see what we did wrong. Was it the thumbnail? Was it the title? Maybe let me look at the video again. What did I convey my message correctly? At one point, did my analytics drop in viewership in this video? Like, don't be afraid to put in the work, and you're gonna fail. I mean, there's videos that for me, I remember telling friends like, "Hey, man, this video only got this much. What do I, you know?" And then you just got to come back and get better. It's like a muscle.
And just like you said, nobody necessarily owes you anything. But like, first, I want to say thank you for being on here. But second, I owe you a thank you also to like, I don't want to do what you do, but like you give me a reason to kind of like say, man, well, how can I do something better? Because I've seen you change things to where it's like, dude, this dude has got it. Jay Cruz respectfully has done something better with every. That's another one of those small little jokes if you've been in the community a while. But like, you have really like given somebody to kind of use you as not necessarily a goal to be that person, but something to strive to. He loves what he's doing, and it shows. He's changing things on a regular basis. He's bringing different things to the beard community at a different level. Like, so, I mean, I just appreciate what you do. So I have to say that. So that, I mean, I don't owe you that, but I feel like I do just because when I go to edit a video, I also think about like kind of what other people are doing. And you're one of the first people that I think of when it comes to that editing side of things. Because you've killed it.
Appreciate that. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. It's always, I think like if you don't love it, like I think that's gonna be like I think you have to get to a point where you love it, right? Where you're consumed by it to the point where it's like it feels like, you know how they say like if you find something that you love to do, it's like not even working. That's how I feel about content. Like yes, it's work, but I love it, bro. Like I love it. So I think for a lot of people, you may not love it in the beginning, but once you see growth and you see results of you personally, like, hey, now I can audio edit. Now I lowered my time from 12 to 7. Oh, snap. This effort that I took, this risk is really paying off now. I think those things will help encourage you along the way, you know. But I appreciate you bringing me on today. It was a lot of fun, bro. And I like we got to shoot the breeze, you know what I mean, and talk some seriousness, but also talk some fun stuff, man.
Yeah, I don't want it to just be like a sit here. Like I don't want to put you in the hot seat necessarily, but I do want to celebrate the things that you've done and
respect.
That's the benefit of me being able to do what I want to do. I get to celebrate the ones who I think should be celebrated, not what
appreciate you,
a group of people do. So, but I 100% agree with the whole like content thing. Like I couldn't be happier when a video is out and I've liked the way that I changed something and it did something. So that right there is 100% a great feeling. And if you haven't felt that, then try to change something else about your content, because if you can't be happy with you learned how to do something and you applied it to a video or even your whole system, it's very uplifting, especially when it gets maybe 2 more views. It's like, well, something changed.
For sure. So,
but hey, man, before you go, why don't you shout out your, like, I guess your handles to YouTube, Instagram, and all that?
For sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, check me out on social media, all social media platforms except Snapchat. All right, respectfully. Check me out under Healthy Bearded. Like I said, all social media platforms. Check me out there. We'd love to connect with you. Everything from self-care, grooming, beard care, and just an overall fun time. Listen, do not just come one time to the CMU. It's called the Community Meetup every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great times and great laughs. I hope to see you there.
All right, man. Thanks again for coming on. I can't wait till I get this out there, because I think
for sure
I think people are gonna love it. But before you go, just hang back and we'll cut off after we're actually
done. Appreciate you, bro.
Yep. Thanks again, man.
See ya
later.